Hi, everybody. Very warm welcome to each one of you joining here. Welcome to the second episode of Aakash BYJU'S CUCET 2022. I was on mute, but this time I am very clear, I hope. So you can write if I'm audible to you guys. And yes, I would like to welcome each one of you here. Now, thank you so much, first of all, for giving us a phenomenal response on the first episode of Aakash BYJU'S CUCET 2022. You guys liked it so much, and I'm assuming that you guys would have definitely some issues resolved. But today, it is going to get more deeper, and the clarity is definitely going to be there. So, इस पूरे webinar में, I always mention this thing that whenever you have any issues in life, आप हमेशा अपने experts के पास जाते हो, because आपको मालूम है that you will definitely gain the clarity from them. So आज भी we are joined here today by Mr. Vaibhav Dikshit, who's an assistant director in the national academic team at AESL. And Vaibhav sir has been a distinguished physics faculty with more than 8 years of experience in teaching physics and mentoring students for various competitive examinations. Little bit more about him, which is very great because he's also an alumnus of IIT Guwahati and a former visiting researcher at the University of Manchester, UK, and University of South Carolina, USA. So, hi, Vaibhav sir, how are you?
Thank you, sir, Tanu ma'am. Thank you so much for having me here and letting me discuss with you on this very relevant topic of the CUCET examination. I also welcome all the students and the viewers, and I really hope that this particular discussion will be very fruitful for them. So thank you once again.
थैंक यू सो मच सर प्लेजर इज आवर्स तो यहाँ पे एक वेबिनार का हाईलाइट मैं जरूर देना चाहूंगी फॉर ईच एंड एवरी स्टूडेंट हु इज ज्वाइनिंग अस राइट नाउ देयर इज फ्यू देयर आर फ्यू पॉइंट्स जो इस पूरे सेशन में हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं सो ओवरऑल जस्ट प्राइमरली दिस एंटायर वेबिनार इज गोइंग टू बी अबाउट थ्री थिंग्स जिसमें पहला हम डिस्कस करेंगे CUCET 2022 के ऊपर लेटेस्ट अपडेट्स क्या हैं व्हाट इज न्यू एंड दूसरा वी विल ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन पेपर जो बहुत सारे students का फिलहाल concern है. So every student, this webinar is going to be great for everybody who wants to know कि question paper कैसे set होने वाला है. Third, we are also going to ask sir about the tips and tricks, which is definitely going to help each one of you, as in how you can prepare for this exam, which is about to happen. So without further ado, let's just dive into this webinar. And, हमारे पास सर ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आ चुके हैं स्टूडेंट्स ने काफी सारी क्वेरीज और कंसर्न्स दिखाई हैं रिगार्डिंग CUCET लेकिन कुछ क्वेश्चंस अगर अभी भी मुझसे छूट जाते हैं सो आई वुड सजेस्ट दैट आप हमारे डिस्क्रिप्शन में जरूर चैट बॉक्स में हमें जरूर बताइए इफ यू हैव एनी कंसर्न क्वेरी related to CUCET because Vaibhav sir is definitely going to answer all those questions. लेकिन first sir, before actually starting the webinar, ये एक तरीके का ritual है क्योंकि like I already mentioned in my introduction that in this webinar we are going to discuss the pattern. So my first question has to be this कि CUCET 2022 के examination का pattern कैसा होगा?
So Tanu ma'am, this is a very relevant question. If I talk about the history of the CUCET is being conducted since 2016. So एक ऐसा examination है जो 2016 से होता चला आ रहा है. But there's a particular reason why it is getting so famous specifically for 2022.
Okay.
So one thing we should definitely mention here is that the CUCET takes admission into the different courses in the central universities. It is a gateway for taking admission in many central universities, and those were 12 till now. But however, in 2022, two major universities also got added up in the CUCET. One was the Delhi University, which is in itself a big mammoth university, attracting large number of students from all over the India, and also Jawaharlal Nehru University. And not only that, apart from that, a large number of other universities like Banaras Hindu University, Vishwa Bharati universities are also expected to come under the ambit of the CUCET. So in one sense, CUCET अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा examination होने वाला है. And when I say that ये examination बहुत बड़ा होने वाला है, it also means that a large number, in fact much greater than the students that were competing in the previous years, एक बहुत ही बड़ा number students का इस बार compete करेगा. So it is very important for the students to not only just know what is CUCET, but also understand what kind of paper the CUCET examination will be, what will be the pattern of the
जी.
CUCET examination. So to give a brief insight or a brief introduction, CUCET has many different papers. Now, the papers vary according to the course in which the student wishes to take admission after the CUCET. The most popular two paper codes are called as paper 1 and paper 2.
Okay.
Now, paper 1 is for the science undergraduate courses like BSc Physics, BSc Chemistry, BSc Mathematics, and so on. So, for example, if a student wishes to take admission in BSc Physics in a Delhi University college in 2022, he or she has to give CUCET. And the paper 2 is for the student who wish to take admission in the non-science courses like BA, History, and so on and so on. Now, the pattern of these two papers is completely different. If I talk about the paper 1 is divided into two parts. One is part A and next is the part B. Now, part A में जो questions होते हैं, they are of general aptitude. And what do I mean by general aptitude? General aptitude means there will be questions of mental ability, logical reasoning, English, general knowledge, and current affairs. And there will be a total of 25 questions in part A from the general aptitude. Now, the part B will have 4 sections in it. And these 4 sections will be physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics with 25 questions in each section. So part B in total will have 25 multiplied by 4, that is 100 questions. Now, before I delve more into it, one thing to note here is that out of physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics, the student has to attempt either biology or mathematics. That is, he or she should attempt either physics, chemistry, biology, or physics, chemistry, mathematics. And if he or she attempts all of the 4 sections, then the best of biology and mathematics is considered. Or ये logical भी है because a large number of students may have PCB in their 10+2 and they may not have mathematics. So CUCET doesn't even ask them to attempt the mathematics, they ask the student to attempt only the biology portion. So this is the number of questions in each sections. Every question is a single correct multiple choice question type. So there are 4 options in each question and only one of them is correct. Now, the catch here is that there is a negative marking also. So for each correct answer, the student is given +4 marks. And for every incorrect attempt, 1 marks is deducted from the total score. So it is +4 -1, just like what happens in NEET. So because there is negative marking, it is very imperative, बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है स्टूडेंट्स को कि वो इसके पैटर्न को बहुत अच्छी तरह अंडरस्टैंड करें, एक प्रॉपर स्ट्रैटेजी के साथ इसको अप्रोच करें ताकि नेगेटिव मार्किंग उनके सारे अटेम्प्ट्स और सारी मेहनत को बर्बाद न करे. So that is a overall idea about the pattern of the CUCET papers.
So I think students really need to take care about the negative marking scheme because this is one thing that scares every student. So it's very important students कि आप बहुत consciously हर एक answer का जवाब दें. Even if you are like really sure, you should think about it because negative marking again बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान कर सकती है. Sir, मेरा एक और बहुत ही important question ये भी है कि will CUCET be a pen and paper test या वो computer based test होगा?
So मैम CUCET जो पेपर जो एग्जामिनेशन होता है that is a CBT mode test. CBT means computer based test mode. So वो एक ऑनलाइन एग्जामिनेशन होगा, कंप्यूटर पे बच्चों को देना होगा, शिफ्ट्स में होता है. So even paper 1 is conducted into 2 shifts, paper 2 is conducted into 2 shifts, and further paper codes are conducted in multiple shifts as well. So there is no pen paper mode, there is only CBT mode as of now. But let's see what the notification of the CUCET brings to us. And what the Pandora box, when it opens, what surprises it has for us. But as of now, it is CBT.
So we're still not sure of it. So let's just wait कि exactly जब ये suspense खुलेगा. Firstly, you are going to get notified from Aakash BYJU'S, and that is the reason I'll suggest every student कि आप हमारे channel को जरूर subscribe करें so that सारे latest updates on CUCET 2022 आपको सबसे पहले मिलें. Moving on to another very important question, sir. ये मेरे दिमाग में भी आया था कि अगर as a student, can I appear in both paper 1 and paper 2 of CUCET? Is it possible?
So, ma'am, this is a very, very famous question. And not just in webinar, out of the webinars, a lot of students are asking this particular question, if we can attend both paper 1 and paper 2.
Okay.
Now, if we go by various cases, we have various examples around us as well. For example, there are students who take science courses in their 10+2, but due to certain reasons, they develop interests in the non-science courses, and they finally join the non-science courses. For example, there are many science students who take admission into BA courses, and that happens. And based on the same line, yes, the student can attempt both paper 1 and paper 2. However, after attempting the paper and after getting the score from the CUCT, the right to admission lies with the central university. For example, there might be certain eligibility criteria for a particular course in a particular university. अब जैसे अगर हम बात करें BSc Physics में, हो सकता है there is a chance that a central university puts up a criteria that the student should have physics in 10+2. So if he doesn't have physics in 10+2, in spite of giving paper 1 or paper 2, he won't be eligible to take admission. So the final eligibility criteria is with the central university. However, yes, he can attend both these papers, and yeah, that is it.
So again, जितना मैं सर समझ पा रही हूँ इस पूरे प्रोसेस को, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि टाइम मैनेजमेंट स्किल्स की यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत पड़ने वाली है टू ईच एंड एवरी स्टूडेंट. अगर आप बहुत ही ज्यादा सीरियस हो फॉर CUCET, देन आपके पास एक प्रॉपर शेड्यूल होना चाहिए, टाइम टेबल होना चाहिए, सो दैट you have more clarity on both the papers, right?
Exactly, ma'am. In fact, I must point here is that CUCET is a competitive examination. A large number of students are appearing in CUCET and competing for few limited number of seats in the central universities. And like in any competitive examination, it is very important for the aspirant to perform better than his or her competitor.
Right.
And I remember from my own preparation days that there is a very important mantra that efficient preparation means excellent performance. And how does this efficient preparation happens? Efficient preparation happens through smart work, and smart work involves strategy, and strategy of time management is very important. Now, when we talk about the time management, it can be divided into two parts. पहला पार्ट वो पार्ट है जहां पे स्टूडेंट उस एग्जाम के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहा है. He has certain number of months to prepare for that exam. And the second part of the time management is managing time during the exam.
Correct.
And if the student understands these two different aspects of time management, I'm sure he'll be able to ace any exam, be it CUCET. Now, if I talk about the first part, that is preparing for CUCET, when he has, let's say, 2, 3, or 4 months at hand to prepare for that particular exam, there are certain key points that the student must remember. First of all, while preparing, there should be a proper timetable of the student. Knowing at what time, what to study, planning it out as per the requirement of the student and also the requirement of the subject is very important. So I advise the student to divide the whole day in a proper timetable and give ample time to each subject. For example, if your physics is weak, try to give it more time. And as you give it more time, slowly and slowly, your physics will get better and better, and you'll be requiring to give it less time as the time progresses. Now, as you prepare and go through that timetable, as you implement that timetable in your preparation, make sure that you do not set daily targets. It is very important to set weekly targets while preparing a timetable. For example, you should know that in this particular week, I need to complete these many chapters of physics, these many chapters of chemistry. I need to do these many questions of mental ability, or for example, biology, and so on and so on. That weekly target should be very definite, and you should ensure that you follow it. So this is one thing. Now again, as per your personal requirement, for example, each and every student has different level of challenges in preparing for exam. For example, certain students have their niche for solving numericals very quickly. However, they do not have good abilities to remember theory. So for those students, we usually see that their biology is weak, but their mathematics and physics part is very strong. Their mental ability is very strong, but their general knowledge is weak. So they should talk to their teachers. They should sit with them, and they should understand what the requirement is. And I'm sure the teachers will surely help in tweaking their timetable and helping them to set a timetable that is perfect for them. At least that is what we do at Aakash BYJU'S. We hear a lot of queries from the students regarding the timetable, and our all faculties sit with them and sort it out once and for all for those students. Now, the second part is the time management during the exam, and this is very important. For example, if I state it very crudely, अगर मैं सीधी बात करूं कि अगर आप 2 या 3 महीने बहुत अच्छे से पढ़े, लेकिन उन 2 घंटे का जो आपका पेपर है CUCT का, अगर आपने वहां पे अच्छा नहीं करा, वहां पे टाइम मैनेजमेंट खराब हुआ, वहां पे आपने क्वेश्चंस गलत कर दिए, तो कहीं ना कहीं आपकी मेहनत पे पानी फिर जाता है. एंड दैट इज देयर इज नथिंग मोर सैडनिंग देन दैट. सो व्हेन यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द एग्जामिनेशन, मेक श्योर दैट यू लीव नो स्टोन अनटर्न्ड. नाउ, how to ensure that you have a proper time management in the exam? One thing that you can do is, during your preparation days, make sure that you attempt as many practice tests or mock tests as possible. Now, when you attempt these tests, after each test, try to identify your weak subjects and your strong subjects. In the next test, try to attempt your strong subject first. It will give you motivation. It will keep your spirits high during the test. And if you start attempting your most difficult section in the first section of the test, then it may lead to the lack of motivation during the whole test. Now, after each and every test, try to do error analysis of the questions. For all the questions that you attempt incorrectly, see what went wrong. Talk with your teachers. Go back to your books and make sure that you do not repeat those mistakes again. So, as and when you do that, in the due course of time, you will see automatically that your time management in the examination will be better and better and better. I remember a statement by one of the toppers when I was talking with him. He told me that, sir, every practice test that I took it as the original test that I was taking. Wow. And when I started doing that, my original test became just one of the practice tests that I was taking. And the performance in my test was as expected by me. And he was obviously qualified with flying colors in that particular test. So that is something students should keep in mind.
Wow, that's a great advice coming from you, sir. In fact, now we're going to take certain live questions here because students are very curious. So, एक पहला सवाल जो मेरे पास आया है वो ये है, ma'am, if any students from science background in class 12th, then would they give CUCET exam for humanity course? In fact, ये दोनों सवाल बहुत connected हैं क्योंकि there is another person who's asked a very similar question कि अगर मैं science background से हूँ तो क्या मैं humanity course के लिए CUCET का exam दे सकता हूँ?
Ma'am, that particular question is in fact based on the question that you just previously asked. Yes, the student can attempt both the papers, that is the paper 1 and paper 2.
Paper 2, yes.
Exactly. But again, I'm stating that the student should note that before giving any paper, the student should check the eligibility criteria of the university and of the course in which he or she is desiring to get admitted into. And that is something, if he or she keeps in mind, yes, they can attempt both the papers.
So now that you've spoken about the university, so अब तो बहुत बड़े giants, you know, if I talk about Delhi University and Jawaharlal Nehru University, these are like 2 big universities जो बहुत सारे students की dream universities में से एक हैं. You know, people still crave कि हमारे admission ऐसी university में हो जिसको resume में जब हम mention करें तो बहुत proud feeling आनी चाहिए. So these 2 universities on board, do you think now it is going to become really competitive? And you know, what are the challenges or what are the changes probably जो हम expect कर सकते हैं? Difficulty level में कुछ changes आने वाले हैं? Yeah, is there anything new this year that's, you know, I think students would be really interested to find out कि क्या वो चीज है जो उनके दिमाग में हमेशा होनी चाहिए?
Ma'am, before I start answering that, I must state that CUCT is the next big thing. There are 2 examinations in India as of now, that is NEET and JEE, that the students have to attempt to get into the medical career or in the engineering career. However, for example, in the sciences career or for humanities career, there was initially, they were only based on the percentage of marks that you used to get in the board's examination. However, from this year onwards, there's a requirement to give the CUCET examination as well. And if I state some numbers, there are more than 16,000 science UG courses seats as of now. And if more universities come into the ambit of CUCET, this will increase furthermore. And there are more than 50,000 non-science UG course seats, and that is going to increase as well as more and more universities get added into it. Now, जब इतनी universities बढ़ती हैं, what changes? One thing that changes that the number of the students जो इस paper को attempt कर रहे हैं, that increases drastically. And when the number of the students attempting that a particular exam increases drastically, what increases is the competitiveness of that examination. So, and one thing that I should mention to the students is that when you are judging competitive examination of its difficulty level, you should judge on two criteria. One criteria is the number of the students attempting that paper because the seats are limited. And the second is the level of the questions that are coming in that particular paper. What I mean to say is that अगर पेपर इजी भी हो लेकिन बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स उस क्वेश्चन उस एग्जामिनेशन को अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं, इट इज ऑटोमेटिकली डिफिकल्ट बिकॉज फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर सीट अ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स आर कंपीटिंग. And the second thing is the level of the questions for each subject that come into the CUCET examination. Now, compared to the previous trends or the historical data of the CUCET, what we know as we have analyzed the papers of the CUCET, we have made all the papers undergo thorough analysis. What we know is that the CUCET paper is broadly based on 11th and the 12th syllabus taught in the board examination. And the difference is that the pattern of the question paper is different. In this is a single correct multiple choice question type paper.
Okay.
More or less, most probably this is not going to change. The syllabus would remain as it is. And as of now, the pattern of the paper and the number of the questions are also expected to remain same. However, as I always say, we cannot surely say what surprise the NTA will throw at us. But let's hope it remains same. And if it remains same, or even if it changes, we are well prepared for it. But we should understand that the question paper will be highly competitive and therefore a proper strategy is necessary. And sooner or later, a large number of universities coming under its ambit means कि आप ये एक ऐसा examination है जिसको ignore तो बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकते.
Got it. So I think every student needs to take it pretty seriously if you want, to have the dream fulfilled. अगर आप दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी का सपना देख रहे हैं, so this can be actually the possibility that can open doors for you. In fact, यहाँ पे ओमार का भी बहुत ही similar question आया है, sir. He wants to know कि after giving this exam, what will be the opportunities like?
Ma'am, as of now, the opportunities are wide, from BA Economics to vocational studies to BSc in various science courses like physics, chemistry, mathematics, botany, zoology, and so on and so on. In fact, many language papers are there. So, and as I said before, there are 16,000 science UG seats and 50,000 non-science UG seats as of the time we are talking on this webinar. So there are total of 66,000 plus seats as of now. So the opportunities are extensive. The number of seats are very large. And as and when these universities will get added up, these choices of universities and courses and seats will drastically increase. So if I remember the name, the student was Omar, right, ma'am?
Ji.
Omar, as per your question, the opportunities are extensive and they are not limited. They are bound to increase only in the future. So yes.
Wow. So यहाँ पे opportunities बहुत सारी हैं. You just need to take the right step towards, your career and your goals. एक और यहाँ पे सवाल आया है from Kiran Joshi. She specifically is asking कि मैम मुझे medical college में admission लेना है. So should I give CUCET along with NEET?
So ma'am, in the professional courses, that is the engineering courses and the medical courses, the examinations that are JEE, that is the joint entrance examination, and the NEET remain as it is. Okay. For getting admission into the medical courses in India, the student has to give NEET. CUCET is not related to that. CUCET is a completely different segment. CUCET is for the undergraduate science and non-science courses And also, if I may state, many postgraduate courses in universities. However, as of now, we are not concentrating on the postgraduate courses. We are only concentrating on the undergraduate courses. So to
Okay.
summarize for all the students, because that is also a very famous question, no, you do not have to attempt CUCET if you are aiming for the medical career. You have to attempt the NEET, and for engineering, you have to attempt JEE. However, there are certain BTech, that is the Bachelor of Technology seats in certain universities through CUCET as well in certain universities, but they are very limited in number. However, the CUCET is for the undergraduate courses other than medical and engineering.
Okay, okay. So, sir, can we now discuss part A paper and part B, because so many students are very curious what kind of questions they can expect. We've already discussed that there's going to be negative marking scheme, so they're very scared. And I think थोड़ा clarity मिलेगा जब लोगों को पता चलेगा कि किस तरीके के questions आने वाले हैं in part A and part B.
So, ma'am, yes. Ma'am, when we talk about part A and part B, we are specifically talking about the paper 1 of CUCET. And paper 1 is for the science undergraduate courses.
Okay.
Now, part A is called the general aptitude part. And in it, there are questions on mental ability, logical reasoning, numerical ability, general knowledge, English, current affairs, and so on. There are 25 questions. And in part B, there are 4 sections: physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics. In these 4 subjects, that is physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics, which is in totality called the domain knowledge part.
Okay.
The questions are based mostly around the 11th and the 12th syllabus. However, there are certain chapters which are uncommon in boards and CUCET. Now, there is one very important thing that the students must remember. When we're talking about boards, we should not only think about CBSE when it comes to CUCET, because CUCET is a national level examination and there are multiple boards in India. So a certain chapter might be absent in CBSE, but might be present in certain other boards.
Correct.
So what we have done here at Aakash BYJU'S is, we have analyzed the previous year's papers, and we have, through our experts, formulated the syllabus of that particular CUCET paper for each subject, and then formulated the study packages accordingly. We have kept those chapters and those topics on these chapters which are relevant for CUCET only, so that the students do not get confused. So broadly, what I can say to the students is, without going much into the details, is that it is mostly based on the 11th and 12th syllabus. However, we cannot use a blanket statement that the syllabus of 11th, 12th in CBSE boards is exactly what the syllabus of CUCET is.
Okay, so Nideshwar, I think आपके question का भी answer यहाँ पे sir ने दे दिया है. You were very much concerned about the syllabus and how this is going to be like. So moving on to another question from Shubham Pandey, sir. What will be the weightage of class 12th? I think ये question पहले भी आया था. And in fact, there's another student who wants to know कि 12th के marks भी जरूरी होंगे admission लेने के लिए CUCET के लिए.
And these are very important questions. So till now, as we all know, Delhi University में अगर आपको admission चाहिए था, so it was very important कि आपके board examinations में extraordinary marks आए. In fact, the cutoffs in Delhi universities used to be top of the town. Exactly, yes. Skyrocketing. Now, when the CUCET comes into picture, the entrance examination will be something that the universities will consider. However, for the Delhi University, which is a new player within the CUCET basket of universities, it remains to be seen whether it completely neglects the board marks and only accepts the CUCET 2022 marks as the primary reason for admission, or it includes both board marks and the CUCET marks in a certain percentage and then decide the eligibility criteria. What I can tell the students is, before 2022, only CUCET marks were important to get admission into the universities that were participating till 2021. I can even name some universities like Central University of Assam, Central University of Karnataka, Central University of South Bihar, and so on and so on, Central University of Haryana. So for them, CUCET marks were the only criteria to undertake admissions along with the sub course specific eligibility criteria of each university.
So sir, एक और बहुत ही important concern है students का. There is Reg who wants to find out how many times can I appear CUCET in a year?
If I talk about in 1 year, then as of now, CUCET happens only once a year.
Once in a year, okay.
So the student does not have any option but to only attempt CUCET once a year. But if I talk about the number of attempts overall, there is no limit on the number of attempts. The student can attempt the CUCET paper as and when it happens. So that is also that the student must know.
Okay, so I think Reg, you've got your answer here. Now, it is very important for each one of the student who's here. They want to understand what is that one thing. In fact, मैं बोलूँगी कि one तो नहीं, but बहुत सारी tips जो आप share कर सकते हैं उनके साथ. You know, that one thing which can actually help them prepare with these questions that we just discussed. What is that style? What is that trick that can really help them to understand this CUCET?
Ma'am, if I talk about CUCET, there are 25 questions of the general aptitude and 100 questions of subjects, physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics. Now, if the student wants to make sure that he or she is able to attempt those questions in general aptitude or in the domain knowledge paper with as much effectiveness as possible, he or she should follow strategy as follows. Start by understanding the theory of that particular topic of that subject that you're preparing as per the timetable that we initially discussed that the student should prepare.
Ji.
After the student understands the theory aapne samajh li, that becomes the base of your overall understanding. Now, to build on that understanding of the theory, to check whether the student has actually understood the theory or not, the student must attempt the relevant questions of that particular chapter. Now, the key word here is relevant questions. Because the CUCET is becoming so huge right now, even when the student goes on internet, there are various resources and the whole internet is flooded about information of CUCET. But as and when I go through those resources, all I can see is that it is very easy for the students to get confused and bewildered by seeing so much of information. The student should ensure कि जो भी हम questions करें वो उस examination के लिए relevant हो, उस examination के level के हो, ताकि उनका time waste ना हो. Smart work will always beat hard work. Strategy बनाइए, questions जो आप attempt कर रहे हैं उनको relevancy रखिए, but relevancy रखेंगे कैसे? That is the question. It gives me immense pleasure and I feel very proud in sharing that. But as of now, that since some time now, we as experts in Aakash BYJU'S are extensively working on this CUCET examination. And our experts are day in and day out, after understanding the syllabus of the question paper of CUCET, have prepared multiple tests. In fact, the students can right now go to our website and download the mock test for CUCET and attempt it. So we have already started doing what is best for the students and help them to not get at least lost in that mirage of information, because the only thing that can destroy the preparation of the student is getting confused by information overload. Information का ज़्यादा होना आपकी preparation का killer होता है. Less is more. Keep this mantra with you. So that is it, ma'am, on this.
I think that's a wonderful advice because yes, it's true, sir. क्योंकि कभी-कभी बहुत सारी information students के लिए overwhelming हो सकती है, and you know they can just digress from the topic कि हम आए किस purpose के लिए थे और हम confused हो गए. So if you are also confused and looking for that right expert, like sir also mentioned that you know we at Aakash BYJU'S have trained faculties and they're preparing questions, mock tests. You know they're keeping everything in mind और बहुत ही extensive research के बाद papers ready होते हैं. एक अच्छी explanation की अगर आपको तलाश थी, then I think I would suggest Aakash BYJU'S is one destination for you all. लेकिन सर क्योंकि अभी हम CUCET की इतनी बातचीत कर रहे हैं, इतना discussion हो रहा है, webinar यहाँ पे हमने रखा है, everybody is very much concerned कि tentative time को अगर मैं calculate करूँ कि CUCET कब हो सकता है, और साथ साथ people were also preparing for their board exams, so students are really concerned कि क्या उनको enough time मिलेगा to prepare for both the exams, और दोनों ही बहुत important है.
Definitely, term to examination जो 12th boards के आ रहे हैं उनको neglect तो नहीं किया जा सकता. They are very important examinations for sure. Talking about the tentative timeline, we can go by the historical data. So board examinations ke after 2 months or 2.5 months, this CUCET examination is usually held. So this time the term 2 examination of the students in the CBSE is being conducted from 26th of the April. The detailed date sheet is yet to be released by the CBSE. So even if you assume that by the 20th May that the boards get finished, so May, June, July, at least by the end of July, we can expect that the CUCT will happen or we will be organized. So that is one thing. Now talking about your second question, that the boards are approaching and the boards are important, and साथ साथ CUCT को neglect करना भी एक option नहीं है, क्योंकि जितनी जल्दी शुरुआत करें उतना अच्छा performance ensure कर पाएंगे. So what we can do is, the students, what they can do is, they should acknowledge this fact and appreciate this fact that though CUCT और boards का syllabus completely same नहीं है, but बहुत सारे chapters same ही. In fact, I have an analysis with me as well. For example, in physics, ray optics and optical instruments, wave optics, dual nature of radiation and matter, atoms, nuclei, and semiconductors. In chemistry, chemical kinetics, surface chemistry, DNF block elements, coordination compounds. And similarly, there are a lot of chapters in biology, organism and population, biodiversity, biotechnology, human health and disease. And in mathematics, integral calculus, vectors, and probability. There's some of those chapters which are common in boards and the CUCT. So when they're preparing for the boards, they can be sure that they are actually not completely neglecting the CUCT paper. What they'll be lacking is the practice of the papers in actual CUCT pattern. So as of now, I request the students to ensure that they prepare these particular chapters which are common in the CUCT syllabus and the board syllabus very thoroughly, keeping in mind that they require these chapters even after the board examination, and the remaining chapters they can start preparing after the board examinations along with attempting the mock tests. In fact, we also are now launching the crash course, which is in 2 phases. So before the boards will be starting, in fact, on the 11th and 12th of March, we are starting a crash course for the students, which is in 2 phases. And before the boards, we'll be supporting them on those chapters which are common for boards and CUCT, so that the students are not overwhelmed, उनको maximum फायदा हो पाए. And we reconnect with the students after the boards और उनको दोबारा हम remaining chapters करवाएंगे along with practice of the papers for that.
Wow, I think that's going to be great help for students who are somewhere hanging between both exams and CUCT. So they'll get a nice anchor जहाँ पे वो set होकर prepare कर सकते हैं अपने दोनों ही exams के लिए seriously. और serious तो निकी भी बहुत हो गई हैं. She has a question and she says कि how can I get mock papers for my preparation of CUCT? Do I have to pay for it? So she is specifically asking, is Aakash BYJU'S asking, like, do I need to pay for these mock papers?
So ma'am, we do understand that a large number of students are actually concerned about the CUCT. So regarding the papers, a free mock paper is already available on the website of Aakash BYJU'S. So the student can directly go into the Aakash website and download the CUCT mock paper. We also have test series for the students, and we have kept it at a very, very low price for the students. The students can go out and check the pricing of the test series, and I am sure that the students will themselves be surprised कि इतने सस्ते में test series हमें मिल रही है. So that is something we are already ensuring for the students. But as of now, a free mock test is also available to the students.
Okay, so Nikki, you just need to go to aakash.ac.in जहाँ पे आप अपने mock papers को download कर सकती हैं. And if you have any other query, you can definitely give us a call. Traveling with जानना चाह रहे हैं. I think sir has already mentioned this कि board exams का syllabus भी definitely आपको help करेगा CUCET के लिए. But I'm still taking this question, sir. Class 11th syllabus आ रहा है या 12th syllabus आ रहा है? Please give me clarity on that.
Yes, ma'am. So I should answer the student कि CUCET के पेपर में 11th 12th combined total syllabus आता है. So students confused ना हो कि केवल 12th का ही syllabus आएगा और it will be of the term 2 only. ऐसा नहीं है. This is that is not what it is. The syllabus is of 11th and 12th combined. However, there are certain chapters which are not in CUCET but in boards, or there are certain chapters which are in CUCET but not in boards. So if you can say 5 to 10% of overlap is not there. However, 90% of the syllabus of 11th and 12th will be coming in the CUCET paper.
Got it. So Dr. Girirajan जानना चाहते हैं when will application registration is going to start for CUCET?
I should answer Dr. Girirajan. CUCET का जो notification है, that is expected very soon. What I hope is that in coming few weeks notification आ जाएगा, and as and when the notification comes, the registration dates can be only commented upon at that time. So I just advise him to look out on the Aakash website as well as the NT website and keep checking out for the new notifications. We'll be also updating through our various social media handles as well.
Okay, so Doctor has definitely got his answer, but मेरे मन में sir ये बात करते करते एक question जरूर आया है कि there'll be, like you said, 100 questions होने वाले हैं एग्जाम में, जिसके लिए 120 minutes दिए जाएंगे to every student.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just confused कि इसके लिए मुझे time management skills में expert होना ही पड़ेगा, you know, just to get clarity so that मैं step by step सब clear कर पाऊँ.
Ma'am, 120 minutes, 100 questions. If you just divide 120 by 100, it is 1.2 minutes per question.
Exactly.
And that is scary because मुझे जहाँ तक लगता है, I'll be very frank with the students. कई बार तो 1.2 minutes एक physics का question पढ़ने में लग जाता है.
Okay.
So 1.2 minutes per question is the average time. The time management, as I said, कि आपको identify करना है which all subjects are your strongest subjects. And वो सब्जेक्ट्स होंगे जहां पे आप टाइम को सेव करेंगे. उन सर्टेन सेक्शंस में आप टाइम को सेव करिए, एंड उन सेक्शंस में जहां आपको ज्यादा चैलेंजेस हैं, जो आपको डिफिकल्ट लगते हैं, वहां पे वो बचा हुआ टाइम यूज करिए. तो ऑन टोटलिटी 120 मिनट्स इज समथिंग जिसमें वो पेपर हो जाएगा. एंड दैट इज समथिंग जो इनिशियली मैं स्टूडेंट्स के लिए बोलूंगा, जो इनिशियली लगेगा कि इट लुक्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू हैपन. But as we have seen in many decades that the students are actually doing it that way. So now I feel that it is very much possible. All you need to do is make a proper strategy and attempt as many papers as possible. Our mind automatically learns to manage time in that paper. And that is very inspiring thing in itself.
So I think students time management skills की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत पड़ने वाली है if you're preparing for CUCET. अमन यहाँ पे जानना चाहते हैं कि CUCET का difficulty level कैसा होने वाला है? Is it going to be exactly that of NEET and JEE?
So ma'am, the difficulty level of each competitive examination is completely different. And in fact, even NEET has become very unpredictable. Sometimes it is easy and sometimes it is very difficult for some subjects. As of now, what we can say is it is based on the 11th and 12th syllabus till now. However, certain tricky questions can be expected. That is something that we cannot rule out. Though, as I'm talking about this particular subject, I must also mention that स्टूडेंट्स इस बात से ज्यादा कंसर्न ना हो कि एग्जैक्ट डिफिकल्टी लेवल कैसा होगा. स्टूडेंट्स इंश्योर करें कि वो हर एक डिफिकल्टी लेवल के लिए रेडी हैं. कैसे? वो इजी से इजी क्वेश्चंस भी जो है वो कर ले और उतने डिफिकल्टी तक जाए जो रेलेवेंट हो. जैसे कि मैंने पहले कहा, रेलेवेंसी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एक certain range of difficulty level of questions attempt करें ताकि आपके पास हर एक difficulty level of CUCT जो expected है उसको handle करने की capacity हो. So that is about the difficulty level.
Okay, so I think I truly believe that, you know, whenever you are getting into any competitive exam, तो आपको पहले ये accept कर लेना चाहिए कि instead of getting into the difficulty zone, I should be prepared for myself. बाकी देखा जाएगा. So preparation,
yes, exactly.
Preparation is the most important thing here for every student. And in fact, Unknown Minion wants to find out ki what is the percentage of selection through the exam.
So ma'am, the exact percentage cannot be commented upon. The reason is this. The CUCT is in a very new avatar this year.
Right.
The number of seats are drastically increased. The number of the students are expected to drastically increase. So we can only make a rough estimate, and that won't be very correct about the CUCT. Let's wait for the 2022 CUCT to get over with. We'll have relevant data to comment upon that, because it is actually now happening on the scale that can be really analyzed.
Sure. But, you know, ultimately everything boils down to the language, sir. India, you know, we have so many languages, and, you know, in fact, I always get messages ki, ma'am, English mein baat kijiye, ma'am, Hindi mein baat kijiye. So students, they have their preferences, and that is exactly what they want to know, ki CUCET ka exam English mein hone wala hai, and agar English mein nahi hoga, to what other languages can be expected?
So ma'am, abhi tak, 2021 tak, the paper was conducted in English, in the CBT format. There are certain reports as of now, but as I said before, myriad of information internet available, confuse karne ke liye students ko, and so on and so on. Through our own analysis and through various reports, it is expected that many more languages are expected to get added up in the CUCT. And let's see how and when it happens, and that remains to be seen. However, as of now, till the last year, it was only English. But in any case, the questions of the science subjects in English, that is something that students should start doing as much as possible. They'll get adapted to that language, or they are not expected to write if they are not comfortable in English, they are not expected to write a complete essay on English in there. They need to just understand that particular question of that particular subject, and that much working level of English they're required to attempt that paper as of now. Now let's see what happens in this particular session, because what we know from the other examinations of NTA, like for NEET happens in more languages than just English and Hindi as well. So let's see.
Okay, so I think, sir, quickly, I'm going to take this one very specific question. Is Aakash BYJU'S providing any support for general aptitude section of paper 1 or on only science subjects?
So let me just comment on that. So what we have for the students is basically 3 courses. One is the crash course, where our experts will be actually teaching the students through live classes. And in those crash courses, we'll be teaching students not just for part B, but also for part A, that is the general aptitude. There are experts of mental ability, general knowledge, and English, which have produced extraordinary results in various examinations. And also, we have test series for the students, and also test series and discussion for the students, wherein there are tests as well as discussions of those tests. All these tests of the crash course and of the test series include both part A and part B. And part A and for all the students, detailed solutions of each and every mock test is given to them. Error analysis of each and every paper is given to them, so they can identify their weak areas in both part A and part B. So that is something. And I should also point out that in the crash course, we'll be also giving 6 complementary mock tests for paper 2 of the CUCT, that is for the non-science UG course. And the paper 2 only has 100 questions only of general aptitude.
Okay, so exactly when can we start to, this journey of CUCT? When exactly are the batches starting on CUCT?
So ma'am, we are starting our phase 1, that is the offline batch. So the online batch, I must again repeat, the online batch in which we will be initially supporting the students on those particular chapters which are common for both CUCT and the term examination of the boards. So that is starting from 11th of March, that is next month only. We're not wasting any time. We are more excited than the students themselves to engage the students in the preparation of CUCT. And we'll be again starting another crash course batch in the online and the offline modes, both, after the boards examination as well. And the registration of all these courses are open. They can go to our website, our landing page, that is the akash.ac.in/CUCT-courses, and they can see all the details. They can get themselves registered and get enrolled. And not just that, we are also not just teaching, we have extensively prepared study material based on the exact syllabus of the CUCT. We have the detailed tests, various tests. In fact, there are around, in totality, more than 50 tests that we have created for the students of various courses to prepare for CUCT. And we'll be preparing more such tests as and when the time requires. So the most recent engagement of the students will start from 11th of March.
Okay, so there you heard from Vaibhav sir that 11th March is the starting point for CUCT preparation on Aakash BYJU'S. Mark that date in your calendar because it's a very important day for every student who's preparing. So thank you so much, sir. It was such an enlightening session with you. I'm sure बहुत सारे लोगों के queries or questions यहाँ पे resolve हुए होंगे. Thank you so much. It was great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Tanu ma'am. Thank you again for having me. And I wish all the students who are watching this all the very best. I wish you that you all succeed in your endeavors. Thank you so much for having me again and talking on this particular topic.
Thank you so much, sir. The pleasure is ours. So this brings us to the end of today's session, which is very sad. But like I said, all good things come to end. So we would also like to thank each one of you students who joined us today for this webinar. But there's more to it. You can register for our next webinar and you can get your queries resolved. अपने questions हम तक आने दीजिए, सारी clarity हम आप तक पहुंचाते रहेंगे. With the experts on the panel, मैं आपके साथ दोबारा मिलूंगी in the next session. So I wish you the best, and yeah, you have a great evening, and I'll see you next Saturday. In fact, 4 o'clock. So don't miss it. See you very soon.